Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? Okay. It's been a crazy year for Star Wars news, but this last week might have been the craziest. We got an unbeknownst trailer about Tales of the Underworld following Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane. We also got an Empire teased magazine for Andor Season 2 with interviews from Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna and others. We got another teaser trailer, that is, a short 30-second spot on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter for Andor Season 2 that shows Cassian Andor fighting against K2-SO. It's absolutely insane. This was a wild week for Star Wars news, and we got a lot to get into, from interviews to new trailers to new craziness about the Sean Levy movie and all this crazy stuff. New characters, new Inquisitors, new Jedi. It's wild. Absolutely wild, and we got to dive into all of it. So without further ado, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? Yes, that's right. It's the weekend, and there's no better way to celebrate the weekend by talking about Star Wars. So that's what we're going to do. And without further ado, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Matthew, what's up? Navarro, how we doing? Vaughn Go, what is up? Haja in the house. Brandon Baker, how we doing? Trent, what is up? 730 Evie, how we doing? Freddie in the house. These emojis are hilarious. Darth Plagueis, what is up? Mind of Lucas, how we doing? B-Man in the house. Nathan, what's up? Holly, how we doing? Trent in the building. If I missed you, know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so we have this. There's actually two teaser trailers, two 30-second spots. One that was released and one that was sort of leaked out. One shows this K2-SO versus Cassian Andor type battle going on, and then the other one is more geared towards the Death Star and Krennic. So we're gonna watch both of them. We're gonna break them down. There's a lot going on in these two very short 30-second trailers, and we of course have to talk about Tales of the Underworld. A brand new show comes out May 4th. Cad Bane, Asajj Ventress setting up possibly the next animated show that will be announced at Star Wars Celebration. And oh yeah, that's right. Star Wars Celebration is in 2 weeks from today. Actually, less than 2 weeks, 13 days, because it starts on a Friday, and today is Saturday. So 13 days until Star Wars Celebration, 17 days until Andor Season 2. This is it. We are in the month of April. And this might be the greatest month of Star Wars content ever, because we get Andor Season 2, we get all the crazy announcements from Star Wars Celebration, and on the 25th of April, Revenge of the Sith, the greatest Star Wars movie of all time, in my personal opinion, comes back to theaters for the 20th anniversary on April 25th. So, if you're like me, and you're only 3 years old in 2005, so you couldn't watch a PG-13 rated movie where Anakin Skywalker burns to death, well, then you can watch this movie for the first time ever on the big screen on May 25th. So, clearly we got a lot to get into. So, let's dive into it. Alex, what's up? Steve, how we doing? Cannibal the Dragon, what's up? Okay, let's do this. First, let's start with a new 32-second trailer. All right, let's watch this. Let's watch it. We'll watch it all the way through, and then we'll talk about it. All right, make sure the volume's on. We good? We're good.
I came with you to be part of something. The Empire cannot win.
You're thinking like a thief.
I'm thinking like a soldier.
Think like a leader.
If we do not stand together, we will be crushed.
Yet again, we've hit this time where this Andor show is only a few weeks away, and that's where Lucasfilm and Disney hits their stride with the marketing. We're going to get trailers like this all day long for weeks and weeks to come, and they're so damn good. It's 30 seconds of just straight awesome action and just hype. It's so great. They're really good at making these. However, the main focus of a lot of these trailers is this TIE Avenger, this TIE fighter that Cassian steals from the Empire. So clearly this is going to be a multi-episode vehicle, I guess, for Cassian to drive around in. I mean, what better way to stay off the Empire's radar than flying one of their ships, I guess. But we do see this ship on multiple planets in this specific trailer. We've seen it already on the farming planet where Bix and Brazos and B2 are in hiding, but we see it a lot more here. So right here it's in space.
I came with you to be part of something.
It's a pretty spacious TIE fighter if you ask me.
The Empire cannot win.
Critically acclaimed. So they, of course, have been hyping up the fact that the first season was very critically acclaimed in all their marketing. I mean, they should. The craziest part about this whole Andor Season 2 hype, which is great because you want to be hyped up for the next show, is that Season 1 was really not viewed by that many people. Well, obviously it was viewed by millions of people, but in terms of other Star Wars Disney Plus shows, it's on the way lower side. So not a lot of people watched Andor Season 1 when it premiered. However, Andor Season 1 has this weird thing where so many people have watched it after it was released. The word of mouth got around that this show is absolutely incredible and, of course, critically acclaimed, and so many people went back and watched Season 1. So now, the hype for Season 2 is so much higher than Season 1 because people actually know who this is, what this show is. Even though you've seen Rogue One, maybe you didn't even remember the character's name of Cassian Andor, and now you've seen Season 1 and you're hyped up for Season 2 because this is the final piece to the puzzle in this time period of rebellion and, of course, taking down the Empire. This is it. Andor Season 2 is the final piece of this trilogy. Andor Season 1, Andor Season 2, Rogue One, possibly the greatest trilogy of all time. And it's the final piece to the original trilogy. This second season and the first season, an extension, and Rogue One, are all pretty much in my head an extension of the original trilogy. I mean, that's sort of how it works. But critically acclaimed.
You're thinking like a thief.
I'm thinking like a soldier.
Think like a leader. Okay. Here is pretty interesting. Cassian is holding some sort of rifle, and he is on Gorman. As you can see in the background, that's the same place as the Gorman massacre. Is it possible, and I've seen this theory fly around a little bit, is it possible that Cassian is the reason that the Gorman massacre happens? The Gorman massacre is led to believe, we're led to believe, is the Empire just slaughtering, massacring, if you will, thousands of innocent Gormans. The stormtroopers, they just full out blast all these people in the crowd. However, what if, much like in Season 1 of Andor, the rebellion is the cause for the Empire pulling the trigger? When we see in Season 1, the Aldhani attack happen, when the rebellion sort of makes their announcement, as Luthen says, they make their announcement with Aldhani where they steal 80 million credits from the Empire to fund the rebellion. And while doing that, Luthen wants the Empire to overreact. They want the Empire to pretty much kill innocent people, to show the rest of the galaxy that the Empire is evil. Because it might sound crazy, but a lot of people in the galaxy still believe that the Empire, they're the good guys. They're helping. They're making a safe and secure galaxy, as Palpatine would say. And a lot of people across the galaxy believe that. So something has to change to make them realize how evil this galactic empire is and then rebel. And Luthen is trying to force their hand, force the Empire's hand. And that's what happens with Aldhani. And that's sort of what Marva does on Ferrix at the end of Season 1 as well. But Luthen's purpose with the Aldhani attack is to force the Empire's hand to do something crazy. And that something crazy might be the Gorman massacre. And it might need just a little bit of a push to get it all going. And that little bit of a push might be Cassian Andor himself killing a pedestrian or killing a stormtrooper, maybe even, to start this whole damn thing. And, well, it's going to end with thousands and thousands and thousands of innocent Gormans being murdered by the Empire. but it might not be the Empire that starts it. That's the crazy part. So that's my crazy theory right now. That's what I think's going on here, but only time will tell. And Orson Krennic's in the chat. What's up, Krennic? I think you have a part in this too, but we'll get to that in a sec. So it's possible that Cassian here is going to use this rifle to start the Gorman massacre, which would be wild. Yeah.
Soldier. Think like a leader.
All right, this is what we're talking about here. Cassian at the Gorman massacre with that same blaster, and all these people are running crazy because they're obviously running for their lives because they're about to be slaughtered by the Empire, and he's shooting K2-SO, or at least trailer magic. It's meant to make us think that he's shooting K2-SO. So Tony Gilroy, the creator of Andor, has said that Cassian and K2-SO's friendship and how they meet and how they grow to become best friends that we see in Rogue One, that's going to be a very crucial part of this second season. And he actually described it as a quote-unquote meet cute. A meet cute. Now, I don't know what kind of sick and twisted mind Tony Gilroy has, but a meet cute wouldn't, to me, mean fighting one-on-one while innocent civilians get slaughtered around them. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But a meet cute would not really seem like a 1v1 where innocent people are dying around them.
Like a leader.
I mean, you could say this is trailer magic, but it really seems like this is what's happening here. We haven't seen any, zero, zip, nada, no scenes where Cassian and K2-SO are in the same room or standing side by side or working together in any of the marketing for this show. We've gotten 3 trailers, a bunch of posters. Cassian and K2-SO are never together. And obviously, by the time of Rogue One, they're best friends. They're always together. So that is clearly being left out of the marketing for a specific reason. However they become best friends, however K2 goes from an Imperial weapon, a droid working for the Empire, to a rebel is going to be a very big part of this second season, and they're trying to keep it a secret. Even though we know K2 will be in this second season, they're keeping how he becomes a rebel and how he becomes best friends with Cassian a secret. And Lucasfilm is really good at keeping secrets, as we can tell. But this is their meet cute, if you will. And it seems like it's going to be a one-on-one, and honestly, I got my money on K2-SO. So, I don't know. Chat, 1v1, Cassian Andor versus K2-SO, who wins? Who wins? Oh, that's not my Star Wars cup. What kind of nonsense is that? Much better. I got my money on K2. However, somehow, some way, Cassian's going to have to take control of K2 and, I don't know, reprogram him to become a rebel, you know? Should we pull it up? Let's pull it up. In this one-on-one on Gorman, for the Gorman massacre, who's going to win? K2-SO or Cassian? Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. By the way, if you haven't smashed a freaking like on the stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Who wins on Gorman? Is that how you spell Gorman? Sure. If it's wrong, you guys get the deal. Who wins the 1v1 on Gorman? Cassian or K2-SO? What do we think? On the one hand, he's a freaking a badass droid. I got money on K2. However, at some point, somehow, some way, Cassian's going to reprogram K2-SO to be a rebel. I don't know. You tell me. Think like a leader. Luthen's going to be so good in the second season. It's a bummer that he has to die. I mean, he's going to die. He's going to die. Did the Anzellans reprogram K2? I don't think so, but I mean, you never know. The thing with season 1 of Andor was they didn't really do that. They brought in a bunch of new species, like the forearm guy who tries to save Nemec after the Aldani stuff. They brought in some new species, you know, but I don't know if they'll bring in Anzellans. I feel like that's very sequels Mando time period. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. See, there's some people who think that still that B2's programming is just going to be transferred into K2SOs. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Honestly, I think we're going to see the death of B2. Can a droid die? I don't even know. The shutting down of B2. And it might happen very early on in the season. Because B2 is not a part of the rebellion. Same as Bix, same as Brazos, same as Luthen in Rogue One. A lot of people's deaths coming in Andor Season 2, chat. A lot of people. It only took us 16 minutes of a live stream to get to people dying all over the place in Andor Season 2. But K2 will survive. Cassian will survive. Yeah. A little bit more of some Babu Frick. It'll be cool, but I don't know. Mike, are you going to Star Wars Celebration? No. I will not be attending Star Wars Celebration, but we will be covering all of Star Wars Celebration. We'll put it that way. I'm not going to Japan it would be way harder for me to cover all the stuff from there. So we're going to cover it all from here. 2 weeks until Star Wars Celebration, where we're going to get so many announcements, new shows, new animated shows, new movies, new comics, new books, all that stuff. And we'll talk about it later on in the stream, but yeah, it'll be great. Thank you, Krennic. I appreciate that. I don't know how to take that. You are a Imperial overlord, so. K2 is defenseless against security droids. What? He got arrested by one in Season 1? K2? Oh, you mean Andor's defenseless against him. That's true. We've seen this fight before. Cassian loses to the K2 unit that arrests him and turns him into Narkina 5. Now, the problem, or I guess what could happen in Season 2, is because that already happened, a K2 unit has already arrested Cassian in Season 1 of Andor. So this might be Cassian literally fighting for his life. He's like, I'm not going back there. I'm not going back to prison. It would be crazy if he just went back to prison. Well, imagine he just goes back to Narkina 5 and that's how we get more Kino Loy. He's still there. That would be ridiculous. There's no way they would do that. Right? There's no way they're having K2 right here just arrest Cassian again. And then he goes back to prison and we just get another prison arc where Kino Loy can actually swim this time. There's no way. That would just be lazy writing in my personal opinion. Will Cyril's mom survive? Well, Miguel, you ask a great question. Yes. Not only will she survive, but she'll become like the Imperial overlord of Barracks or something. or Coruscant. Yeah. Well, Kino Loy is supposed to be in Season 2. Andy Serkis said it. I mean, we are led to believe that he will be in Season 2. The question becomes, why is he going to be in Season 2 and where will he show up? He clearly couldn't swim and get off of Narkina 5, so there's going to have to be some sort of explanation as to how he shows up in Season 2. Yeah. Speaking of One Way Out, that episode, so if you are a member, we have the members only live streams every Sunday where we're rewatching Season 1 of Andor. We're on One Way Out. Tomorrow we're watching episode, what is it, 10? Something like that? One Way Out? Yeah. So this fight, I don't know. Who are we taking in this fight? Cassian or whoops, that's loud. Or K2? Wow, 52 to 48. 52% of you say Cassian Andor is going to win this fight. Interesting. To 48 saying K2. That's right down the middle. That's pretty crazy. If I do say so myself, that's pretty wild. Well, Kino Loy is supposed to be in Season 2. It's just a question of how, you know? Well, let's finish off this trip.
If we do not stand together,
there's the tie again, blowing up some Imperial shuttle.
We will be crushed.
And then here it is on some weird planet, being shot down.
We'll be
or being shot at it.
crushed.
There's some cliff here. It looks like water that he's going over here.
Will be crushed.
Yeah, that looks like water. So he's going over water here. That's clearly a different planet entirely than the farming planet. So he's on a different planet here, going across water. Or maybe ice. Maybe this is the snow planet from the trailer. Then it looks like he's getting blasted at. It looks like he hits there. Whoop. I don't know, chat. Either way, this looks to be Cassian's sort of ride for the season, or at least for a good portion of the season, is this TIE Avenger. I don't know. Is this ice or water? Because this could be the snowy planet from the trailer. It does look very white up on the mountains. Huh. But there you go. He sort of crashes there. And then we get to Yavin 4, which is the final shot of the trailer, where he's on Yavin 4 in the same outfit that he's wearing as, of course, we see him in Rogue One. Oh, we got a new member. We got a new member. Hang on, chat. Miguel. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Oh. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars, Miguel, at the Padawan level. I appreciate that. Memberships, super chats, keep the lights on over here, so I appreciate it. Yeah. The prison was making parts for the Death Star. It should be finished, so... Well, that's true, Rob. Absolutely. I mean, the prison that he's in Season 1, builds the pieces for the Death Star. And at the end of Season 1, we see the Death Star sort of get finished, or at least close to being finished. And we're going to see the Death Star even more in Season 2, with Krennic and hopefully Dedra even knows about it. Would be great. Maybe that gives us an appearance of Darth Vader, or maybe even Palpatine. I don't know. But Krennic, we already know, is going to be there. He's in all the trailers. He's in all the promotion. But the Death Star itself can't be seen by Cassian. It can't be seen by a lot of the rebels, because then they'd know about it. Because by the time of the original trilogy, by the time of Rogue One, they know about this super weapon that the Empire has. They just don't know what it is. They've heard rumors, but they just don't know what it is. Yeah. But I appreciate it, Miguel. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here, so I appreciate it quite a bit. Yeah. The scene of Cassian blowing shit up and flying through the fields, or fire of the debris, was almost frame by frame the same as a World War II Allied plane blowing up a Nazi train/truck or something. That's pretty cool. I don't even know. I'm sure. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I think Cassian might lead K2 somewhere else, so he has a better vantage point and he can reprogram him. Honestly, I think it's more likely that K2 gets sort of busted up by Cassian. Like, Cassian wins the fight, and then he reprograms him after the fact, like when he's disabled or turned off or whatever. I don't know. How do you reprogram an Imperial droid without killing it first, or at least shooting it down first? Yeah. Either way, it's going to be a very, very important piece to the entire second season. Yeah. Target, what's up? Okay. So that's the final scene. Honestly, Yavin 4 is going to play a big role in this second season, only towards the back half of the season, I'm going to guess, because that's where the Rebel base is in Rogue One and in A New Hope. But it gives you the opportunity to see familiar faces, like Harrison Dula and the Ghost and Chopper, which were all there during the events of Rogue One. Same thing with Bail Organa, maybe even Leia Organa. You can see a lot of familiar faces. But as we know, there are two characters, we've talked about this before, but there are two characters that cross over from Star Wars Rebels, which takes place at the exact same time as this Andor series, and Andor. And those two characters that cross over are Saw Gerrera and Mon Mothma. And we're going to see a lot more Saw in Season 2, but Mon Mothma escaping Coruscant after the Gorman massacre happens. We see that in Star Wars Rebels. She gets picked up by the Rebels crew, by the Ghost crew, and we see that happen. Yeah. So that's this first trailer. Now, there is a second trailer that was only released it says only released on Instagram, but I can't even find it on Instagram. We're going to have to watch it on here. Oh, hang on. We just got a super chat. One sec. But for some reason, I literally can't find this trailer anywhere else. But obviously, it's real. I mean, it's the same as the first trailer we just watched. I think it might have accidentally been posted and then somebody recorded it. I don't know. We're going to watch it, though, in just a second. Let me get to this super chat. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10 holla. Says, sorry for the great emojis. Yeah, I appreciate the super chats and the super stickers chat, but the poop emojis before the live stream, they're pretty funny. So shout out to Darth Plagueis and I Hodja for sending the poop emoji, spamming a poop emoji or poop sticker. Super sticker? What are they called? Super stickers? Super stickers before the live stream. But sorry for the great emojis. Any crazy predictions for Andor Season 2 or Star Wars Celebration? Well, first of all, $10 is extremely generous. I appreciate the super chat. Crazy predictions for Andor Season 2 we'll start with, okay? Anybody in the chat have any crazy predictions for Andor Season 2? Honestly, I don't know how crazy they're going to go. Because Season 1, of course, has some crazy moments with Narkina 5, One Way Out, and Marva's speech and all that stuff. The Eye. But it's not crazy as in, like, crazy cameos or crazy plot twists, or I guess some plot twists, but you know. Obviously, the people being slaughtered on Gorman's going to be crazy. But there could be some crazy, like, death scenes, as we know many of these characters either aren't going to survive or going to have some sort of escape plan from the rebellion, like Bix or Brazos. But I think, however Luthen dies, because he's definitely going to die, is going to be epic. And I think that's going to be pretty crazy. Yeah. But I don't know. Crazy predictions? I mean, you could say, like, Palpatine shows up, which I certainly think he will, in the Senate building when Mon Mothma's calling him out. It would be great. But other than that, no, not really. Vader shows up. Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy prediction, I guess. Vader showing up, sure. Yeah, that's crazy. But then crazy predictions for Star Wars Celebration. Oh, I got a few. A Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show would be fan-frickin-tastic. It would be animated, but even still. A Keller and Beck live-action show would be so damn cool, especially after Ahmed Best was hyping us up for some crazy announcement that he's making at Star Wars Celebration. Movies. We need some huge updates on movies. The Rey movie specifically, Sean Levy's movie is going to be the next Star Wars movie after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and we know nothing about it, so that would be great. We do have an update, actually, about that today. But that movie needs a big update. The Dawn of the Jedi, 25,000 years before anything, it's very important. First ever Force users, first ever lightsabers being built, first ever Jedi temples being built. That's extremely important, so we need a big update on that. I'm guessing some crazy live action shows that we've never heard of. Much like when Skeleton Crew was announced, we were like, what the hell, Skeleton Crew? Jude Law and Star Wars? What's going on here? That sort of stuff. Yeah. So, not too crazy, but I guess a little crazy. But I appreciate it. Oh, Mind of Lucas with a very generous $5 holla. Damn, you guys feeling extra generous to start off the stream. I appreciate that. Says, K2-SO is a KX series security droid, and therefore is not armed with weapons. A simple ion blast should shut down his systems. The battle droids are the armed ones. Yeah, but even still, their armor should be able to stop a blaster bolt, which we see in that trailer. And one of these droids has already disarmed, or not disarmed, but held up Cassian by his throat and tried to choke him to death. Yeah. Who are those mysterious characters in Tales of the Jedi? Oh, we'll get to it. Oh, we'll get to it. Yeah, Tales of the Underworld, Tales of the Underworld is a very, very interesting thing that happened this week. We'll put it that way. Krennic is Dedra's father? Okay, now that's a crazy theory. I don't think he's her father, but Krennic and Dedra are going to have some sort of conflict in Andor Season 2. That'll be pretty important. Yeah. Darth Drafter in the house. What's up, Darth Drafter? How we doing? Did y'all watch Den of Nerds video about possible upcoming news? I did watch some of that video, or somebody sent a bit of it to me. I've heard similar things. Not really too much going on in that video. I mean, he talks about Ariana Greenblatt, Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor being in Ahsoka Season 2, which we've been talking about for months now. But one of the big things was Sam Witwer coming back as the son in Ahsoka Season 2, which would be awesome. The son from the Mortis Gods. So getting more of the Mortis Gods, especially if we're getting those three, Ewan, Hayden, and Ariana, back as their Clone Wars counterparts to their characters, then it's likely we're going to be getting the Mortis arc, and getting Sam Witwer back as the son of the Mortis Gods is going to be so damn cool, especially in live action. Yeah. For sure. I think Dedra will kill Bix. No. I want that to be reversed. Bix kills Dedra because she got tortured in the first season, so she gets her revenge in season 2. Andor kills Dedra. Okay, that'd be interesting. Cyril commits suicide. I hope Cyril joins the rebellion. Because, you know, he's got to do a little bit more than just eat Cyril. Luthen sacrifices himself, and I'm not sure about Vel and Cinta. Yeah, Vel and Cinta, I don't know either. But Luthen sacrificing himself. Luthen's death in season 2 is going to be very meaningful. He talks about how he's going to make this sunrise that he'll never see, and how he's building up this empire that he'll never get to see come to fruition. His death will be a very meaningful one. He's the leader of the rebellion right now, so he's going to have some sort of big, dramatic exit, if you will. Yeah. Babu Frick gets his own show. I'll be down for that. Sign me up for that. Yeah. What if Luthen dies to Tarkin's ship landing on the pedestrians? Oh my God. That would be crazy. Yeah, so tell me in the chat, do you guys actually think they're going to do this? So the one sort of piece of information that we know about the Gorman massacre is that Tarkin lands a Star Destroyer on the pedestrians. That's dark. And even for Andor, which is more of a dark show, that's dark. Tell me in the chat, do you think they'll actually do that? Do you think they'll actually not show it, or even just mention it? That Tarkin's landing ships on the pedestrians at Gorman? That would be so dark. Even for Andor, that would be dark. Yeah. Darth Vader, what's up? Yeah, we were just talking about you. Are you going to be in Andor season 2? That'd be great. Yeah. Yeah. What about the Mara Jade show that was rumored? Didn't they put her lightsaber at Galaxy's Edge? Yeah, so, I don't know, the beginning of March maybe, we were talking about a Mara Jade Mara Jade show being in development at Lucasfilm. That was coming from some pretty actual reliable sources at the time. Since then, it's been pretty much radio silence on the news of Mara Jade getting her own show. However, Star Wars Celebration is in 2 weeks, and that'd be pretty cool. And yes, they did release her lightsaber to Galaxy's Edge, so that's usually a sign that something's coming. Yeah. Will Princess Leia be in Andor Season 2? That's a great question. Now, I'm going to actually open this one up to the chat. Do you think that Princess Leia Organa, will be in Andor Season 2? Now, this is actually a really tough one, because yes, she is in Rogue One. Yes, she is heavily involved with the rebellion. But we haven't seen Leia in Star Wars since The Rise of Skywalker. And there's been opportunities, especially in Ahsoka Season 1, when C-3PO comes into the room instead of Leia. They could have easily had Princess Leia be in that scene, but they didn't. Now, they've deep-faked Luke Skywalker in the Mandoverse, and that's sort of, I guess, easier to do because you still have Mark Hamill around. Carrie Fisher has sadly passed away, so to bring Leia back is a little bit different than bringing Luke back. So, do we think Leia will be in Season 2? What do we think? It's not going to be a massacre. The rebels will blow it out of proportion. Interesting. So, you think the rebellion's going to actually just blow the massacre out of proportion? That'd be crazy. Maybe Luthen starts the massacre? No, Luthen won't be there. That's the thing about Luthen. He sends people to do his own work for him. That's why his death is going to be so interesting. Because he always sends people to do his work for him, you know? Tales of the Underworld looks awesome. Yeah, it does. We'll watch that trailer again later. Yeah. JC, what's up, says, Mike, I know you're expecting some crazy stuff from Disney that they will announce, but isn't Disney scaling back the live-action production and focusing more on movies? So maybe there will be less to come out from live action Star Wars projects. Well, I do agree with you that yes, live action shows on Disney Plus will be taking a step back slightly. We won't be getting 3 live action shows a year like we were getting with Ahsoka and Mando season 3 and the Book of Boba Fett and Kenobi and Andor all coming out in the same year. Like that won't happen anymore. We'll probably get 1, if we're lucky, 2 live action shows in a year on Disney Plus. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I don't think they're going to announce many live action Disney Plus shows, but you still have a ton of movies to get announced. You still have a ton of animated shows, multi-season animated shows to be announced at Star Wars Celebration. There's not going to be a lack of announcements. Let's say that. Them announcing Tales of the Underworld this early makes me think that they have even more. Yeah. Coming. Oh, Tony with a very generous $10 holla. I appreciate that, Tony. I really, really do. It says, wow, up to 140K subs? Yeah, we are. Looking forward to 200K in about 3 to 4 months. Slow down. I don't think that's very logical, Tony, but I appreciate it. Yeah, we just hit 140K subscribers this morning. So can we celebrate 140K? Can we just take a second? Celebrate it a little bit. That'd be nice. But I appreciate it, Tony. I really, really do. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here. So I appreciate it. Oh my God. You guys are insane. Darth Drafter with a $20 holla. Holy crap. I appreciate that quite a bit. Just says Kenobi. Just says Kenobi. You guys are insane. Yeah, okay. Less live action series could be better though. I mean, stories have to be written in stories have to be written and stories have to be good. True, absolutely. Them stepping back from live action Star Wars shows doesn't mean bad news. No, absolutely not. Ron, Star Wars Jedi podcast with a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that with no message. Oh, message has now been retracted. But I appreciate it nonetheless. Soraya, what's up? How we doing? Where's the girl who loves Star Wars? She'll be here later. You guys have been asking for Samantha. She's coming, okay? She'll be on the show later. You're stuck with me for now. You're stuck with me for now. God. Yeah. Tales is only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to come from Ventress and Cad Bane. Well, the theory is that Cad Bane's still alive. And getting more of him in a possible Book of Boba Fett Season 2, which is highly likely. The new theory now is that Book of Boba Fett is getting a second season, so that's a possibility too. Ron with another very generous $2 holla. Oh, guys, if you have not checked out Star Wars Jedi podcast yet, first of all, go subscribe to them. But they just got another new interview. So before it was Vanessa Marshall, which is fan-freaking-tastic, and all they do is these great interviews. So if you want cool interviews with Star Wars writers, actors, voice actors, whatever, go check out Star Wars Jedi podcast. They got some incredible ones over there. And Vanessa Marshall, who voices Hera Syndulla, might be holding something up her sleeve because Star Wars Celebration is in 2 weeks, and I think Hera's coming back. But that's just me. Okay. But I appreciate all the super chats. You guys are insanely generous. How Runner Base, what's up with the 8-month membership? Holy crap, 8 months is insane. Okay, now that all these super chats just got spammed at me, I appreciate it. Let's get back to this trailer. Okay, we got a second trailer to watch. 2 trailers from Andor in one day. Craziness. Now this trailer was almost leaked out there, I guess, if you will. WUV Grad says, I expect 1 movie every other year, 2 live action shows every year, and 3 animated shows a year. Whoa. But that includes Tales, short shows like Tales of the Jedi. Okay. I don't know if it's that much. I think you'll get 1 movie every year because we talked about it. There's 11 movies. 11 movies currently in production at different levels. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, Simon Kinberg's trilogy. That's 3 more movies. The Rey movie, Dawn of the Jedi movie, Sean Levy's movie, Taika Waititi's movie, Rogue Squadrons. There's 2 more somewhere, chat. What are they? Lando movie, Oh, and Dave Filoni's Mando movie. Duh, one of the biggest ones. So you got 11 Star Wars movies, all in different sort of places in production, but they have clearly enough Star Wars movies and plans for Star Wars movies to have a movie every single year. Every December or every May will be a new Star Wars movie. So we get a new Star Wars movie every year, hopefully one live action show every single year, and then probably an animated one too, and Tales. So you're talking about 4 Star Wars projects at least every single year for the foreseeable future. That's insane. That is absolutely wild. Yeah. Mind of Lucas with a very generous $5 holla says, might we see a movie and then finish the storyline with a live action series in order to boost Disney Plus subscriptions? Yes and no. I think what's happening here is we're going to see, like The Mandalorian, which has 3 seasons on Disney Plus, moving to the movie theaters. You're going to see similar stuff like that happen, where if you want to know who Din and Grogu are and you haven't watched the shows, you're going to go watch the first 3 seasons on Disney Plus. It's just going to spike viewerships when the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out in theaters. And I think something similar to that will happen. I don't think they'll end a movie on a cliffhanger and then say, hey, go watch the rest of it on Disney Plus. No, I don't think so. But I appreciate it. Okay, let's get to the second trailer, shall we? This one focuses more on Krennic, the bad guys, and the Death Star. So let's take a look at this.
We need to silence any resistance.
Sorry for the bad quality. Again, this is not an official release from Disney. Somebody somehow recorded this off of Instagram, they claimed it was, but I haven't found it anywhere else. So take a look at this.
We need to silence any resistance.
If we do not stand together, we will be crushed.
Together, we can win. Welcome to the rebellion.
I got some good and bad news for Cassian. Together they can win, but he's going to die on the beaches of Scarif. Now, hey, there's a worse places to die. I mean, on the beach, it's pretty nice. But, yeah, I mean, Cassian, you're going to die, buddy. Sorry. Okay, but besides that, let's take a look at this. So it starts off with Krennic and the Death Star.
We need to silence any resistance.
We need to silence any resistance. Now, it looks like he's in some sort of meeting, let's say, in a room full of people where it looks like he's looking around the room to a bunch of different people.
Any resistance.
And he's saying we need to silence any resistance.
To silence any resistance.
I think we're going to get a lot of Krennic pitching the idea of the Death Star to a lot of other people in the Empire. Obviously, it's been funded by the Emperor and Vader and backed by these people. But to bring out a superweapon that destroys planets is probably not going to be met with the greatest of open arms from other people in the Empire, because their planet could be destroyed too. That's sort of the big issue with the Death Star, is it's probably not everybody's best interest to have it floating around the galaxy, and it could destroy a planet at any moment. So Krennic is almost the guy who's pitching the idea of the Death Star. Sorry, not the Empire, of the Death Star. And I think, I mean, we're going to get to see a lot more Krennic in this show, but the Death Star itself is going to be like this looming presence in the background. Yeah, we're going to get a lot more of the lore of the Death Star. And it could be the last time we even see the Death Star too, which is pretty good. Yeah. But this also brings up the fact that we see Krennic talking to Dedra, or interrogating Dedra, in the other official trailer that we got, in the same room where she interrogates Cyril in the first season. And he talks about how you should be squashing all this resistance, and resistance is pointless and all this whatever. I think we're going to get to see Krennic and how he feels so powerful with the Death Star being finished now, or almost finished, that he doesn't even care about the rebellion. And that's sort of the message of Andor, and has been the message since season 1, where the Empire is so fat and satisfied. They're so stupid that they don't even see the rebellion growing underneath them. And only a certain few, like Dedra, see the rebellion growing. And in season 1, Dedra is getting sort of pushed by the Empire to keep looking, to keep finding more and more about the rebellion. But in season 2, she might be shut down by Krennic because resistance is stupid. We don't care about the resistance. There's no way they can resist us. We have literally a planet-killing weapon. So if they resist us, we'll just blow them up. And that's the stupidity and arrogance of the Empire that eventually gets them killed, eventually gets them destroyed. It allows for the Death Star to have a weak spot that a single X-Wing can destroy the entire station. It allows for the rebellion to grow so strong and so large that the Empire can't even take it down. It's much like we talked about with the Jedi Order, and the Jedi Order falling to pieces by the time of the prequel trilogy because of their blindness to the dark side, their lack of attachments, all these crazy, stupid rules that allow Palpatine to rise to power, that allow the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, to fall through their fingertips. The same way that the Jedi Order slowly collapses, the Empire does too. Because the Empire is now 20 years old by the time of this Andor show, 19 years old. And it's slowly lost power because they just feel so in control. And it's the perfect time for a rebellion to rise up because they're so fat and satisfied that they don't see it coming, as Andor describes in the first season. So that's what I think we're going to see in season 2, especially out of Krennic. Krennic is going to be like, resistance, pff, they mean nothing. The rebellion, they're nothing. We're going to kill them with a Death Star. Don't you worry. We're fine. We're fine. But they're not fine. Clearly. As we know from the original trilogy. But that's what we're going to get to see from the Empire in this second season. Dedra, who in season 1 is really finding the rebellion, finding out what's happening with the rebellion, and sort of squashing that to an extent. The whole not Orson Krieger. What's his name? Krieger? What's Krieger's name in the first season? Anto Krieger? Something like that? Something Krieger. Krieger from the first season, Saw Gerrera. She's piecing all these pieces together, piecing all these puzzles together, piecing all the pieces together, puzzling all the pieces together, piecing all the She's putting it together, chat! And I think Krennic in season 2 is going to pretty much just say, no, we're good. We're good, chat. We're good. Resistance is dumb. We have a Death Star. Like pretty much Loki being like, I got an army of Chitauri, I got all this, I got that. And the Hulk's like, Iron Man's like, we got a Hulk. So Krennic's like, we got a Death Star. Yeah. So that's why I think he's saying,
Silence any resistance.
We need to silence any resistance. I got a planet-killing weapon that will destroy anybody. Get on my level.
If we do not
So we get a little bit of if you look in the bottom frame here, the Empire, they look to be arresting the people at the farm here.
we do not stand together,
This is the Gorman massacre. See them. This looks like they're coming out of a ship down here. Like the fog from a ship or something? I don't know. K2-SO yet again, or at least the KX droid. There's a bunch of them, actually.
we will be crushed.
This is Gorman yet again. There's a lot of Imperial presence on Gorman.
Together, we can win.
But like I said earlier, I think this is already there. Like the Stormtroopers have been there for a while. They've been there since season 1. There's been no conflict yet. It's not until the rebellion makes the Empire pull the trigger. I think, again, Cassian is there to force the hand of the Empire, to shoot first. Han shot first? No. Cassian shot first. And then the Empire rebels by slaughtering all the innocent people on Gorman. But nobody remembers that Cassian's there. Nobody remembers that Cassian's the one who started it. All the rest of the galaxy hears is that the Empire slaughtered thousands on Gorman. Hey, maybe this is what we've been waiting for. How Mon Mothma's in the Senate saying the monster will come for us all. That's when Palpatine rises up through the Senate building and goes, oh, hang on a second. Did you know we didn't shoot first? Our Imperial officers were shot by Cassian Andor. And then it's like, no, probably not. But even still, I think the rebellion's going to have to make the Empire pull the trigger. And that's what's happening on Gorman.
Together, we can win. Welcome to the rebellion.
Welcome to the rebellion. And I'm sure he's saying that to either Bix or something like that. I don't know. But he is on Coruscant here, which is pretty interesting too. Cassian and probably Bix as well will be on Coruscant at some point in this season, which is interesting when you think about it, because he's not supposed to be there. The Empire is looking for him specifically, and he's going to be on Coruscant. Now I get you could say the same thing about Luthen, but they don't know who Luthen is. All they know is his name is Axis or Axel or something along those lines. They know Cassian's name. They know he's Cassian Andor. They know what he looks like. They're looking for him specifically, and he's going to show up at their own home, show up at their own doorstep. But again, they're too fat and satisfied to even notice. That's what's cool about it. But Cassian will be on Coruscant in season 2. He clearly gets it around because he's on Gorman, he's on Coruscant, he's on Yavin, he's on all these different planets. But season 2 is going to be absolutely insane. Those are the 2 teaser trailers that were released. One officially released by Lucasfilm and Star Wars themselves, and the other one sort of leaked out there, I guess. Yeah. That is 17 days away, chat. 17 days. Crazy. Wild. Yeah. Okay. But having said that, when we look at what's coming up, let's take a look at this. This is pretty cool. I saw this today. Let's take a look at this. We're talking about future Star Wars projects. Okay? In 2 weeks, we have Star Wars Celebration, where we're going to get a bunch of new announcements. But after that, in 17 days, final season of Andor Season 2, and here's the release date schedule. It is only 4 weeks. We're getting the quadrilogy. The quadrilogy will only span for 4 weeks. We're getting 4 Andor movies with 3 episodes every single week for 4 weeks. April 22nd, April 29th, May 6th, and May 13th. 3 episodes a week. Final season. In the middle of that season, right in between episodes 4 through 6 and 7 through 9, we're getting 6 episodes of Tales of the Underworld. And we'll watch the trailer for Tales of the Underworld because it's freaking awesome. But it's Asajj Ventress, it's Cad Bane, and it was announced only 2 days ago. 3 days ago? 3 days ago. Then, we don't have a release date for it yet, but Star Wars Visions Season 3, I think could maybe even also come out on May 4th. I don't think they'll overload May 4th too much. I mean, I hope not. You want to spread out the content, especially in a year where you don't have much content, unless something gets announced. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But Visions Volume 3 is going to have its own exclusive panel at Star Wars Celebration where people are going to get to watch like the first couple episodes. So I think it's very close to being done, if not done already. So I think that release date will be very, very soon. Yeah. In between there, at some point this spring, we do have the Pirate's Fortune DLC for Star Wars Outlaws, for anybody who's still playing that. But the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is a year later, and that seems to be the next thing. That's why at Star Wars Celebration, something has to give, something has to be announced in between now and then, because we're not waiting a whole year for the next Star Wars project. I can guarantee you that. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie will come out on May 22nd, 2026. An untitled movie is still scheduled for December of 2027, but there's nothing on that slot. Most likely the Sean Levy movie. And then Ahsoka Season 2, still no idea. I think it's going to be summer of 2026, though. So that's it. This is all the projects that we know for a fact are coming. That's not a lot. Not a lot at all. Because after about the next 4 weeks, this will all be done. And then all we will have is Ahsoka Season 2, Visions Volume 3, and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and that's it. So Star Wars Celebration has to, and I mean has to, announce a bunch of brand new shows and movies and all this other stuff for fans to get hyped up about. And that's the release schedule as it stands today, April 5th, whatever today is. Yeah. Another bit of crazy news before we go to Tales of the Underworld for a second is, due to scheduling conflicts, Oscar Isaac won't be at Star Wars Celebration. Now, why is this important? Well, it's the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. And he was supposed to be the main dude for that Force Awakens panel. And now he's not even going to be there. That's a little problematic, especially when you look at it this way. The Rey movie, fans are hoping that John Boyega returns for. And, well, last week we were talking about how John Boyega is speaking out about Disney again and his time with the company and how bad it was and all this other stuff and how poorly he was treated, which he was. But fans don't seem to think he's coming back. I still think he will. I mean, you pay the guy enough and you give him a great enough script, he's going to want to come back and fix the character, give him the Jedi arc that he deserves. But as far as we're aware, John Boyega will not be at Star Wars Celebration. I feel like if he was going to be there, they would hype it up because they're like, the return of John Boyega, but I don't think so. So unless Daisy Ridley is there, which again, we don't know, who's going to be at this 10-year anniversary of the Force Awakens panel? Nobody? So this is a little strange. Plus, we were hoping that Oscar Isaac would be announced to be in the Rey movie as well, or in some other project. But that seems less likely now because he's not going to be there. Yeah. Sadly. Okay. Actually, before we get to Tales of the Underworld, I do have a couple articles here about Andor Season 2. So first, let's start with the Empire Magazine, and then we'll get to this other stuff, okay? So, Empire Magazine, as per usual, gets an exclusive interviews and images and stuff like that for Andor Season 2. So, this is the article right here. Andor Season 2 is all about Star Wars characters facing the vice grip of revolution. And we do get this new image, which is in the thumbnail of today's video, of Cassian with the same TIE Avenger here. I mean, this is clearly is going to be his ship, but he's here to rescue Bix and Brazos. What is he wearing? Is that the Imperial symbol on his shoulder? Is Cassian going to become an Imperial pilot to steal this? Huh. You know when Ezra Bridger joins the cadets in Rebels and joins the Empire pretty much just to go undercover? What if Cassian does something like that in Season 2? That would be pretty wild. That would be pretty wild. But this is the first official image that we got from Empire Magazine in their exclusive. But we do get a sneak peek because it's not the entire article here. But let's take a look at this. This doesn't come out till April 10th, I think. Fans already know what's coming for Cassian Andor by the end of Andor Season 2 because it connects directly to Rogue One. Tony Gilroy has long been clear that his Rogue One prequel series will lead directly into that film, delivering audiences to the moment Diego Luna's rebel hero goes off on what will be a suicide mission. And of course, he dies on the beaches of Scarif. But there's a whole host of other characters whose fates are as yet undecided. String-pulling revolutionary Luthen Rael, who's probably the biggest one, Ferrick's own Bix Colleen, sure. The family of Mon Mothma, that's true too. Her husband and daughter are not in Rogue One. So, I mean, I find it hard to believe that they would die. But hey. Never say never, I guess. And by the sounds of things, fans should buckle up. They're going to be facing some serious challenges in Season 2. As Tony Gilroy tells Empire in this new joint interview with Diego Luna, okay, joint interview, nobody will emerge from Andor Season 2 unsqueezed, as he says. What is the real effect of time? Well, hang on. Let's talk about this for a second. Nobody will emerge from Andor Season 2 unsqueezed. Nobody? Obviously, Cassian's going to go through his own arc, going from just being somebody who joined the rebellion to just a leader of the rebellion by the time of Rogue One. But characters like Krennic, I guess Dedra, but a character like Krennic not going through this season unsqueezed. The only people who can squeeze Krennic are Vader and Palpatine. That's pretty much it. I mean, Tarkin too, I guess, to an extent. But we stand here amidst my achievement, not yours. So seeing how Krennic's gonna come out squeezed will be pretty interesting. Yeah. Okay. But as he says this, what is the real effect of time? Pressurized, painful time on ordinary people that hopefully you care a lot about. He says teased what the next 12 episodes will explore. So what is the real effect of time on these ordinary people that you care a lot about? Because it's going to cover a lot of time. Season 2 is 5 years. What happens with their love affairs? Okay. Their relationships, their homes, their children. What happens to everything around them? If you're thrusted into the vice grip of revolution, those are the biggest tectonic moves in the second season. So what happens to their love affairs? You got to think about Bix and Andor. What happens with their sort of love? You got Vel and Cinta too. What happens with them? Mon Mothma and her husband. What happens with them? What happens with the relationships? Again, we just talked about those. Their homes. Ferrix is not in season 2 from what we see. Like, it's obviously Cassian's home, but it's not in the second season. And obviously, they can't go back there. The Empire's probably all over that place. So they can't go back to Ferrix. So I guess they have no home. What happens to their children? So this is Mon Mothma's child specifically because Cassian doesn't have one, as far as we're aware, and neither does Luthen, as far as we're aware. But Mon Mothma's child, of course, there's going to be the big wedding in season 2. But what happens after that? What's the outcome of that wedding in her own personal life with her family, but also how does that affect the Empire and the rebellion? She's doing it to fund the rebellion, but the Empire seems to be at the wedding, which seems crazy too. And then what happens to everyone or everything around them when you touch the vice grip of revolution? As for Andor himself, he's moving towards becoming this super all-singing, all-dancing spy war fighter, okay? He's becoming the ultimate rebel, pretty much. We're seeing Cassian go from just a normal dude who had to murder 2 random guys to the rebel, like the best rebel of all time, pretty much. Tony Gilroy says, while Luthen will face the perils of taking his homespun revolution operations to launching it into something big enough to topple with the Empire, now all of a sudden he's gone public with Aldhani, that is. What do you do if your currency is privacy and secrecy, and the failure is death? Interesting. So keeping him a secret is obviously his biggest thing. Who's going to find out who Krennic? Who Luthen really is? Who's going to find it out? Will it be Krennic? Will it be Dedra? And when they do find out who he is, who's going to kill him? Or will he sort of, I guess, kill himself to sort of sacrifice for the greater cause? Because his failure is death if they find out about him. How do you scale it up? How do you play with others? He doesn't play well with others, much like Tony Stark. How do all the desperate pieces of the rebellion come together in a rebel base on Yavin? Will Luthen ever make it to Yavin? What do we think, chat? Will Luthen ever make it to Yavin? So Bix is in Andor, and Biggs is in A New Hope. Yeah, but I actually never thought of that. Can we see Biggs? No, Biggs joins the rebellion after the fact, right? So he wouldn't be in Andor. He joins it during the events of A New Hope. Yeah. How long are the episodes? Probably the same as season 1. 35 to 45 minutes. Yeah, probably around something like that. I think season 1 was actually longer though. Hang on, let's see. Yeah, let's see. Season 1 of Andor. And while I check this, can we get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bum-ba. Okay. Oh, that might be. That makes more sense. Okay. So Andor season 1. Yeah, you look at some of these runtimes. I mean, they go as low as 38 minutes. Episode 2 is 38 minutes. That's the lowest one. So you're talking 42, 43, 50, 57, 53, 54, 57, 50. So you're in the high 40s to mid to high 50s. You're talking about like 40 to 55 minutes. Anywhere in there for season 2 is what I guess. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping season 2 will stay on that similar route as season 1 and have those longer episodes, I guess. Yeah. For sure. Krennic squeezed may mean he's getting some fear put into him. Well, the only people that would put fear into him would be Tarkin, Palpatine, or Vader in this instance. But yeah. All right, let's get back to this. So we're going to see Cassian become this sort of super weapon, I guess. As Luthen is toppling with the whole Empire. Now all of a sudden he's going public, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't play well with others. Will he make it to Yavin? Okay, that's the question. Sorry, I forgot I even asked that question. Will he make it to Yavin? Will Luthen Rail ever be on the base on Yavin? For some reason, just when I say that, I immediately think no. Like, I don't know why, I just don't see this character ever making it there. Will his ship make it there, though? I mean, he's got the coolest ship, and that ship doesn't appear in Rogue One, making me think that he might go down with his ship. So the cool, what is it called? The Fondor or something like that? I think he's going to go down with that. And hopefully a really cool, epic fight scene in space where he uses those laser beams that come out the side of it again. That would be pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he's fearful of Tarkin. Yeah, probably not. He probably sees Tarkin as his own sort of same level, I guess. But Vader and Palpatine for sure. Yeah. Will you be doing breakdown videos for season 2? And will you be doing it by episode or by all 3 episodes? Honestly, I've still not decided. We're going to be doing a one watch party for all 3 episodes, but in terms of breakdowns, I might do 1 episode at a time, but I'm not too sure yet. We'll see. It's going to be a long night if I'm doing all 3 episodes at the same time, so I might spread it out so I can actually get some, this thing called sleep, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I really don't think that he'll make it to the Yavin 4 base. But, hey, we'll see. The aim is clear. You'll never see Star Wars the same way again, especially the events of Rogue One. This is what we were talking about the other day. Diego Luna saying that this will change your perspective of Rogue One and Star Wars in general with the second season of this show. Like, that's how crazy this second season is going to be. We already know what happens after it. We know where Cassian's story ends. We know where most of these characters' stories end. But even still, even knowing that, you can tell a story in the middle of this character's life that can change everything. Now, why is that important, chat? Why would a character's middle of his life being changed change everything you think you know about Star Wars? Luke freaking Skywalker. Yeah, that's right. Luke Skywalker. A character where we know his beginning. We know his end. He dies in The Last Jedi. He's an old hermit on Arc 2. But we don't know the middle. There's a very highly likely possibility here that Luke Skywalker's story over the next decade or so is going to be explored. From a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show to seeing the downfall of Ben Solo to the rise of Palpatine again to the rise of the First Order with Snoke and all that. Andor Season 2 might be setting the stage for the ability to tell a story about a character in the middle of their life that changes the entire story of the character. It's very similar to Anakin to an extent. You know where his story ends. He's Darth Vader. I guess you really didn't know where his story began, but when you get the beginning of a story and he's just a kid on Tatooine, and then you see the downfall of Anakin to Darth Vader, and then you see his redemption, of course, in Return of the Jedi. Now you have the full painted picture. And Anakin is my favorite character in all of Star Wars still, but that's because his story is fully filled out. We have so much character development and time spent with the character of Anakin Skywalker. 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, 6 movies. He's Vader in the Kenobi series, Vader in Rebels, Vader in Rogue One. He's all over the place. With Luke Skywalker, we have the beginning of a story, we have the end of a story, but not the middle. So Luke Skywalker's story may benefit, actually, in a strange way, from Andor Season 2 successfully pulling off an incredible story about Cassian, even though we already know the beginning of his story and the end of his story. It's a game changer. Yes, Mara Jade could be a thing as well. Mara Jade intervening with Luke, even getting married to Luke, would change his story drastically. Yeah, for sure. Tony says, somehow Luke needs to look younger again. Yeah, I mean, the deepfake versus recasts conversation will go on forever, but yeah. What are you going to do? Okay, let's go back to this stuff. So, you'll never see Star Wars the same way again, especially around the events of Rogue One. You're going to hear some lines on the rewatch and go, oh, promised Diego Luna. Now, the reason that this is important is some fans already brought up the line of climb. From season 1 of Andor, we hear Nemik scream climb at Cassian when they're escaping Aldhani. Now, the reason that's important is because in Rogue One, K2 tells him to climb. And this has brought on a massive theory that K2-SO is going to be programmed with the manifesto that Cassian got from Nemik. It's one of my favorite theories going into season 2. Is that K2SO is programmed with the manifesto from Nemik. That's why he's a rebel. That's why he sounds, or doesn't sound like Nemik, but that's why the things he says sounds like Nemik. And when he tells Cassian to climb, now as the audience, we're going to think back to one of the greatest characters of all time in Nemik, whose life was cut way too short in season 1 of Andor. That right there already changes how we view Rogue One. However, I think there's going to be even more of that in season 2. That's just one example of many different things that can happen in season 2. Now, he's saying specific lines when you rewatch Rogue One are going to make you gasp. And the reason that that's significant, well, first I got to go rewatch Rogue One and listen closely to all the lines, but you have characters like Mon Mothma, like Cassian, like Jyn Erso, and Saw Gerrera, who not only will be in season 2, maybe not Jyn Erso, but maybe her dad, or maybe just references to her. But whatever those characters say, Saw Gerrera, Mon Mothma, and Cassian, the big 3 specifically, whatever they say in Rogue One now has far more meaning because of what happened in Andor Season 2. And, well, we just don't even know what happened in Andor Season 2 yet. That's sort of the big question. Yeah. Mike, can you please play the scene where he says climb in Rogue One? Can I? I'll look it up on YouTube. If I can find it there, then I can play it, but I'm not I wouldn't be able to play it on Disney Plus. Hang on. Let's see. K2 tells Cassian to climb. I don't know if this is going to show up, but we'll see. No. K2-SO maybe? It just showed up as a mountain. K2-SO tells Cassian to climb. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Yeah. Will you have your live streams on Tuesdays, or will they go back to Mondays like you did during Skeleton Crew? They'll go back to Mondays, yeah. Empire Films, what's up? How we doing? I like the theory. It rhymes. Oh, yeah, it does. All right, but let's get back to this article and finish it off. Yeah, by the way, this is celebrating 50 years of Jaws. Really? Jaws came out in 75? Why do I think Jaws came out in 76? I don't know. Okay. But he says you're going to hear some lines on the rewatch and gasp when you watch them, promises Diego Luna. Before, you just passed over them. Not anymore. We are one with the Force, and the Force is with us. I don't think this line will be all that relevant in Andor Season 2. I think that's very, I guess, I don't know. I don't see how this line would be important in Andor Season 2. I just don't see it. But there will be other lines like that, that ones that we just passed over them before, but not anymore, because they'll mean so much. Yeah. Just look up Cassian dies scene. Oh, wait, this might be it.
Climb!
Oh, I found it.
K. Climb! Climb! You can still send the plans to the fleet. If they open the shield gate, you can broadcast from the tower. Locking the vault door now. K! Goodbye. K. Climb! Climb!
So this is sort of what they're talking about here. Him telling him to climb, it's a nothing line. Like, we have zero connection to that. Yes, it's K2 dying, and that's the sad part, but that happens after the fact. Him saying climb means nothing to us until it does. Until Season 2 reveals that K2 was programmed with the manifesto of Nemec from Season 1. And then it's like, holy crap, what? And that's where things get crazy. Yeah. Okay. But yes, the rest of this interview with Diego Luna and Tony Gilroy comes out on April 10th. So we'll watch out for that on April 10th. That's in 5 days. So next Thursday. So next Thursday's live stream will have the full interview of this. But this is sort of a sneak peek, I guess, with an official image too. We'll get more official images next week. Okay. With that, there's this other interview too here. Yeah. Andor showrunner says Season 2 is more fast-paced structure, is a fascinating experiment that was born out of desperation. So this is sort of the beginning to the answers to the question of why is Andor releasing like this? Why is it 3 episodes per week for 4 weeks when they could stretch this out for 12 weeks, especially in a year like 2025 where Star Wars has very little content to come out, where they have 1 live-action show scheduled to come out this year? Why not extend that show for 12 weeks instead of 4? Well, let's find out. Originally pitched as a 5-season epic. Yeah, tell me in the chat if you knew about this. Originally, Andor was supposed to be 5 seasons. It's now been dwindled down to 2, but it was supposed to be 5. Originally pitched as a 5-season epic, Andor is now set to come to an end with a Fast and Furious 2nd season. Instead of the more measured approach, the Star Wars' show's next season deploys a unique episodic structure, which sees a split into 4 batches of 3 chapters, which means each chapter skips ahead a year. So the first 3 episodes take place in 1 year, and then it skips ahead to the next year in the next 3 episodes, and so on and so forth. Speaking in the new issue of SFX magazine, which features Black Mirror Season 7 on the cover and is now on newsstands. Does anybody read magazines anymore? Hard copy magazine newsstands. Does anybody actually read a magazine anymore? Paper? That still exists? Tony Gilroy says the surprise narrative shift was born out of desperation. As he says this: we were halfway through shooting Season 1, coming through the pandy, and the monumental size of the show, the effort, and everything else was just dawning on us. Tony Gilroy recalls. We realized that I didn't have enough calories to do it, and Diego's face couldn't take the timing. So you got to think about that. Diego Luna has to look the same, or at least similar to how he does in Rogue One by the end of Andor's final season, which now is Season 2, but at the time was Season 5. It's been 9 years. 9 years since Rogue One released. And now we're getting Season 2 of Andor. That would mean it would be at least 20 years after Rogue One ended that we would get the end of Season 5. 20 years. And I don't know about you guys, but 20 years ago, me looked a little bit different than I do now. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say 20 years from now, me is also going to look a little bit different than I do now. Because 20 years ago, I was 2 years old. And 20 years from now, I'll be 42 years old. And I think I'm going to look a little bit different. And Diego Luna will as well. So 9 years is still a big chunk of time. Even 9 years is a big difference. And Diego Luna does look slightly older. But you can digitally configure it a little bit or put on some makeup or whatever it may be. And Diego Luna's face will still look similar, let's say. Yeah. Okay. But Diego's face couldn't take the timing because it takes too long to make the show. We were saved by Disney saying, okay, if you guys can figure out a way to do it, we're into it. So if you can figure out a way to cut this time down, then we can do it. On the change, which sees Andor ultimately bump right up to the events of Rogue One, Tony Gilroy adds, it's a fascinating experiment, and I don't know if anyone's ever done it before. We are going to jump a year in between each block, and we are going to use that negative space in a really interesting way, coming back for 3 days at a time. So it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And the challenge is, how do you come back to start each chapter? Interesting. We wanted to have it be as elegant and seamless as possible and just hit the ground running. There was a lot of experimentation to make sure that that worked. Because you got to think about it. If we were watching this week to week, and one Tuesday we watch episode 3, and the next Tuesday we watch episode 4, and we're like, what happened? It's such a drastic stop, and it's such a drastic start to a new story. And that seems to be the reason that they cut this into 3-episode arcs where each 3 episodes releases on the same day. Because now it works that dramatic cutoff all happens in the same day. So on Tuesday, May 22nd, we'll get all 3 episodes with a dramatic cutoff and then a dramatic restart a year later for the 4th episode, but it won't feel like it's this dramatic cutoff because it feels like a quadrilogy. It feels like an Andor movie, and that's just the next movie in line. So it'll take place on 3 days, like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then a year later on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like that. A year is a long time in the galaxy far, far away. Andor is attempting to go even further with its years in the making epic. There's a reason, then, that the star of Cassian Andor actor Diego Luna says they are essentially filmed 4 movies with the 2nd season. That dares to be different. So he also says here, they've never done this before, where they're using the negative space in a really interesting way. The time off screen that we don't see is being used in a very interesting way, which never happens in anything, really. So how are they going to explain the giant time gaps in between these episodes in such a short amount of time? Well, I think they're going to allude to things that happen in between them. We know certain things happen from like Star Wars Rebels. We know that Mon Mothma gets taken to Yavin 4 by the Rebels crew from Coruscant. So that doesn't have to be shown on screen. That could happen in between arcs, possibly. But how they use the negative space, the gaps in between the episodes, will be very, very interesting. Yeah. The good thing about each arc is that the 3rd episode probably won't have a massive cliffhanger that needs to be resolved. Yeah, I mean, some might have cliffhangers. They'll just be hopefully their own secluded stories. I think there'll be an overarching sort of theme and a bunch of different stories that go across multiple arcs, multiple years. But yeah, I think there'll be sort of an ending to each one each week. An open-ended ending, but not really a cliffhanger one, I guess. Yeah. And you got to think about it. So much happens, especially at this time period in the galaxy, that needs to be explored. When you think about Star Wars itself, although we've had 48 years of Star Wars content with shows and movies and shows and movies and shows and movies and shows and movies, and comics and books and comics and books and comics and books, so much canon information, it all really takes place in between The Phantom Menace and The Rise of Skywalker. And that really is only like 60 years, 65 years, something like that. So each year in Star Wars has so much going on. So to skip over a year, it's going to need a lot of explanation. But I wonder how they're going to do it. Second season of Andor is on Disney Plus, blah, 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 blah. You can go read the whole magazine, if those even still exist, over there. So there you have it. Tony Gilroy explains how this experiment works and how they're going to go across 4 different years in the course of one season, which is pretty wild. Okay, let's get to this too. Did we read this already? Oh, we already read that. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we already read that. Never mind. Okay, get rid of that. But now let's talk about Tales of the Underworld a little bit, shall we? So this week was quite the week for Star Wars news. Tales of the Underworld, the next Tales series of 6 short episodes, was announced with a trailer and a poster. And it came out of nowhere and it blew our freaking minds because Star Wars Celebration's in 2 weeks and they're announcing new shows 2 weeks before Star Wars Celebration. Sounds a little crazy when you ask me. Sounds like they were going to have too much of a jam-packed episode that they actually had to release something early so they wouldn't be oversaturating the market in just 3 days. Because when you think about it, a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, possibly announcements for 2 new animated shows and live action shows and movies and all, that's a lot. And to announce a show like Tales of the Underworld that will come out on May 4th, it's a lot. So they released it 2 weeks early. And to our surprise, a show about Asajj frickin' Ventress and Cad frickin' Bane blew our minds. And by the way, it has 1.2 million views in its first 3 days. And, well, it's not trending anymore, but it was trending at like number 8, I think on Wednesday or Thursday for trending on YouTube, which is pretty damn wild when you think about it. But let's take a look at this trailer, shall we? We'll watch it all the way through and then we'll talk about it because there's a few new characters. And since it's been released, people have sort of lost their minds about who these characters are. Inquisitor and young Jedi boy. We'll talk about it. But let's watch it through first.
Just do as I say. Never can be too cautious with strangers out here. Then again, you're no stranger. Lady Ventress.
We got a problem here. Just saw him right in.
What's the situation?
He was your best friend. Things have changed.
You took everything from me.
Who are you?
I was Count Dooku's lead assassin. I don't want that life anymore.
Bane? No one needs to die.
Oh, someone's gonna die.
Get them.
You're gonna pay for what you did.
This revenge. I hope it was worth it.
It will be.
Oh, it will be. Okay, so this trailer drops on Wednesday and literally out of nowhere, and fans lose their freaking minds because it's awesome, and it's the return of Cad Bane, who we thought is dead. It's obviously a prequel, but it's also the return of Asajj freaking Ventress after she returned in the Bad Batch Season 3 last year. But a new Inquisitor or some sort of Sith-looking character, and a new young Jedi boy that's being trained by Asajj Ventress, or at least we're led to believe, have been revealed. And these new characters have had fans sort of losing their minds. Some people thinking that it could be Jod Nawood from Skeleton Crew or Bale and Skull from Ahsoka Season 1, which they don't really look like the same characters. They have different eye colors and everything. However, this trailer comes out of nowhere 2 weeks before Star Wars Celebration when they're going to announce all these crazy projects and blows our freaking minds. Speaking of returns of characters.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, you want the microphone? You want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. How are you today?
Yes, she casually entered during the events of the trailer. So this trailer comes out of nowhere, blows our minds, and we're going to talk about the mysterious Sith Lord character in there and all that stuff. Actually, wait, we got to end this poll because this poll's been up for like forever. Let's do that first. Wow, you guys think Cassian's going to be K2? I think you guys are sorely mistaken. But yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, let's do this. We'll face this differently. Do you think they brought back Asajj Ventress for her own show? Yes or no? What do we think? Do you think Asajj Ventress at Star Wars Celebration will be getting announced her full multi-season animated show, probably about the Hidden Path, probably about Quinlan Vos and others and all the other stuff? And while you say that in the chat, let's get back to this trailer. Whoops, that's not the trailer. And let's talk about it. Why else would you bring back a character like Asajj Ventress? Why else would you bring back a character from the dead, let's say, because she does technically die in the canon novel Dark Disciple? Why bring her back if not to use her more? Because you brought her back for the Bad Batch for what, 1 episode, 2 episodes maybe at most? It's not to bring her back for Tales of the Underworld, I'll tell you that much. That's not the end goal for bringing back Asajj. She's probably going to come to live action at some point. Her connection to Ahsoka Tano, that relationship that they have from sort of villains to friends, sort of, to her being a Night Sister, and the fact that Thrawn is here now with Night Sisters on Dathomir and how she can help with that, I guess, for the heroes. She's got a redemption arc that's sort of like, I guess, Barriss Offee to an extent. I guess, kind of. But she's a fan favorite character, and bringing her back clearly is for a purpose. Boss woman. See, they just all like you more than me. It's just not even. It's not even fair. You know, I see them all the time, every day. Ugh. So, with that being said, we'll actually let you do some stuff on the stream because my voice feels strained and I don't want to talk anymore. So, we'll get to the good stuff. So right down here, we got a new Sith-looking Inquisitor character we've never seen before. Right about here. So this handsome fella, and by handsome I mean extremely ugly. Oh, I missed it. Hang on. Go back. Aha, right there. We don't even know like what species this is. Chat, tell me in the chat if you have any guesses. Some people were saying Weequay, but it doesn't really look like that. He's got a bunch of wrinkles on his face, and it looks like, honestly, people are making the joke about no, never mind. Moving on. So this character, it looks to be an Inquisitor from the poster that we got, and let me pull up that poster really quickly. From the poster that we got for this season of Tales of the Underworld, we see that the character has a... Where the freak is this poster? Oh, there it is. Hope that's all 3 posters. The poster seems to have... Yeah, there it is. Okay, perfect. An Inquisitor's lightsaber. Boom, right there. The circle blade, or the circle thing with the blade going double-bladed. That's the Inquisitor's lightsaber. So it looks to be a new Inquisitor, but we've seen a dozen Inquisitors at least. This actually is the perfect article. Gives us, boom, here we go. Star Wars just unveiled a 16th Inquisitor. Yeah, we're on number 16 now, chat. Number 16. And Tales of the Jedi did a very similar thing. So we got, of course, very round-headed Grand Inquisitor from Kenobi. Still can't get over that. But let's talk about it, okay? You want to do some reading?
Sure.
That's a great show. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. From the top.
From the top.
All right. The trailer for Star Wars' new animated series Tales of the Underworld already confirmed that a new Inquisitor. Yeah.
If you mistakenly call it Tales of the Jedi like 12 times, they're used to it, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Okay, already confirmed that a new Inquisitor will be introduced, meaning that the galaxy far, far away will now include at least 16 named Inquisitors in canon. After Tales of the Jedi was a major success for Lucasfilm on Disney+, the company decided to follow up with Tales of the Empire. It was recently announced that a third Tales of project will soon be released, this time focusing on the mysterious underworld in the galaxy. Tales of the Underworld is set to release on Disney Plus on May 4th, also known as Star Wars Day. The series will be comprised of 6 shorts and will seemingly focus on Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane. Most likely, 3 shorts will center around Ventress and the other 3 on Bane. Star Wars unveils new Inquisitor in Tales of the Underworld. On April 2nd, StarArs announced Tales of the Underworld. I can't say that.
Right? Right?
A brand new Disney Plus series focusing on the adventures of Asajj Ventress, who's already confirmed to be in more projects after her appearance in The Bad Batch, and Cad Bane set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Along with the announcement came an official trailer and a poster for the upcoming series. In the trailer, a new Inquisitor was revealed. Their name or species wasn't provided, but they sported a special helmet and the standard double-bladed spinning lightsaber that Inquisitors use. In the trailer, the new Inquisitor can be seen in a standoff with Ventress, who is now using a yellow lightsaber. In another portion of the footage, Ventress and the Inquisitor can be seen dueling in some sort of hangar with a ship nearby. This mystery Inquisitor was also featured on the official poster for Tales of the Underworld. The poster gives fans a better look at the Inquisitor's pointed helmet and glowing eyes. With the introduction of this Inquisitor, assuming the show will reveal their name, they will be named the 16th Inquisitor in Star Wars canon, joining the Inquisitors below.
So before we get to this list of Inquisitors, and thank you, Samantha, great job reading. See, it's not just me. Tales of the Underworld apparently is a really difficult thing to say. But strangely, I mean, if it goes the same way that Tales of the Jedi went, Ahsoka fights a new Inquisitor, and we never got that guy's name. Like, he was just a cool, badass Inquisitor that she fights just to chop his head off really quickly. And it's sort of a storyline to get Ahsoka back into the fight. Like, the Empire just finds her and sends the Inquisitor after her. And that's what brings Ahsoka back and brings her to be Fulcrum, which we see in Rebels. But I actually think the Inquisitor that's hunting down Asajj might be a little bit more important than the one that Ahsoka fights. I don't think we're going to get the exact same story with Asajj where she just chops off this Inquisitor's head like Ahsoka does. That would sort of be lame. And I guess it would be like poetry, it rhymes, but it wouldn't be that cool. I guess it would just be too similar to an extent. So I think this Inquisitor might be a little bit more important than the one in Tales of the Jedi. But it's a new, weird-looking Inquisitor nonetheless, so it's going to be pretty important. Now, we do have a list of 16 Inquisitors here. Grand Inquisitor, of course, being in Rebels and Kenobi. Marok, who's the first brother, apparently. Really? First brother survived a lot longer than most of the Inquisitors. But is Marok even, like, alive in Ahsoka? I don't know. Marok's got a little bit of a mystery to him. He still turns into green smoke when he dies, and it doesn't really make much sense. I think he was just dead and brought back to life by Inquisitors. But second sister's from the Jedi games, or at least the first Jedi game, because she dies to Vader. Spoiler alert. It was 8 years ago, Jack, get over it. Third sister, Reva, who's, by the way, still alive. So, I mean, I doubt Reva will be in Tales of the Underworld, but, I mean, I don't know. She's the third sister, main antagonist of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, blah, 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 blah. She's still alive. Fourth sister from Kenobi and Rebels as well. Fifth brother, same thing, Rebels and Kenobi. On Malachor 5 with our boy, Darth Maul. The sixth brother. Now, this character is not one that's been in any on-screen appearances right there, but he is in the comics. Vader comics from 2017 and the Ahsoka novel. Sixth brother fought directly alongside Vader on Mon Cala, but was later killed by Ahsoka. So this guy's already dead. R.I.P. him. And he does not look like our mysterious Inquisitor either. This girl's from Rebels. Not in anything else, I don't think. Killed by Maul. Yep. Oh, in the comics, I guess, too. This is who I think Marok is, but I don't know. Similar but different, but Rebels had a weird style to it, so you never know. also in the comics, and does die. So the 9 sisters from the Jedi games, yet again, both Jedi games do, and is killed. Do you chop off her head? I think Cal Kestis might chop off her head. Spoiler alert. 10th brother, not one on screen either. Does he die? Let's see. 10th brother was killed by a clone on Mon Cala. What the hell happened on Mon Cala in these comics? When the Jedi manipulated the clones to enact Order 66 on the fallen Jedi. That's a comic I want to read. So somehow, some way, the clones turned on these Inquisitors. 11th brother's the one we see in Tales of the Jedi. This bird-looking guy. Conchu-looking guy. The 11th brother gets his head chopped off from Ahsoka. And hopefully we won't see the same thing happen. The 13th sister, okay, appears in the Inquisitors' Rise of the Red Blade novel and 2 Darth Vader comics. Interesting. Got the upper hand on Vader, but was ultimately frozen with the Force and was killed. Who duh? This person, former Jedi turned Inquisitor, but his official title was never revealed. Okay. So he's never given a sister or brother title. The 14th brother, Barasafi was never given one either, actually. She's only an Inquisitor for like a second. So I guess, yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is, 16. They didn't get the math wrong, chat. So this will be the 16th Inquisitor. I don't know. There's something about this guy that, first of all, looks pointy and weird, but there's something off about him. I don't know. I don't think his head's just going to be chopped off by Asajj Ventress just for shits and giggles. I think he's going to have some sort of important role, not just a one-off appearance. Now, getting back to the trailer itself, there's another mysterious character, this Jedi boy we'll get to in a second. But let's talk about Cad Bane's story a little bit here, too, because we do have this whole thing with his best friend and maybe his child, or who the hell knows. But his best friend seemed to have turned on him, and he becomes a marshal, and he becomes a bounty hunter, and they'll go different ways and whatever. But it seems as though he might have either killed his wife or stolen his wife and his child, and that's why Cad Bane gets really mad and leaves and comes back and does something crazy. There's really a lot of mystery behind Cad Bane's story and all this, and that's why we can't really focus on it much. We know Inquisitors, we know Jedi, we know these 2 characters from the Clone Wars and all that, in Asajj Ventress and her Night Sister magic. We know a lot more about this side of the story, about the side of the poster, than we do Cad Bane's side, especially because Cad Bane doesn't have the metal in his head and the tubes in his mouth. It doesn't look like the Cad Bane we know. It's probably a prequel. But when we move back to this side, these 2 characters, it was brought to my attention because I was like, who the hell's this droid dude from last stream? These 2 characters right here, they're from the Clone Wars. This girl I recognized, she's in later seasons of the Clone Wars, sort of an assassin who works alongside, a bounty hunter alongside Asajj Ventress. But so was this droid. It's a bounty hunter droid. I just didn't remember it. So Asajj Ventress is getting familiar faces from her past brought up in this season of Tales of the Underworld. But let's get to this kid. Who the hell is this child? Let's talk about it. So first of all, tell me in the chat who you think it is. Well, let's take a look at this.
What's the situation?
He was your best friend.
Things have changed. You took everything from me.
Yeah, like took everything from you. It seems like that's his child.
Who are you?
I was Count Dooku's lead.
So this kid. Who the hell is this? So the eyes look a lot lighter here, like I mentioned before. And in another scene, they look way more brown. But they don't look blue. In our blue characters that we know of, are Baylan Skoll's eyes also blue? We know that Jod's are blue. Hang on. Baylan Skoll. So Baylan Skoll's, Jod Nawood's eyes are blue. We know that for a fact. Are Baylan's blue? Oh, yeah. Those are definitely blue, right? Yes. Look closely, woman.
I'm trying. Make it bigger.
Okay, I'll make it bigger.
Yes.
They're not brown. They're not brown, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. This is Baylan Skoll's eyes. So, I mean, unless your eye color changes in an old age, which I don't think so, but Balin's skull seems to be out the window, and so does Jod because Jod's eyes are also blue. But the question becomes then, who the hell is this child? Now, some of you have brought up the kid from the Clone Wars. I already forget his name. Yeah, Latz Razi or Latz Razi, whatever the hell his name is. He's got crazy bright eyes. Let's look at it. Latz Razi. Oh wait, no. Sorry, that's not the. Come on, chat. That's the bounty hunter. What's the kid's name from the Clone Wars? What the hell's his name? Latz Razi is the bounty hunter. Balin would have been a knight before Order 66. That's another thing too. Is Balin looks too old to be that young during the time of this show. That's true as well. So Balin's got the blue eyes, and so does Jod. It seems like both of them are out of the picture. However, Jod's story does sort of fit the description of this show, because Jod's story is he gets found, sort of, he's been living in a hole in the ground his whole life, and this Jedi who survived Order 66 finds him, and she, we know it's a she, trains him for a little bit, and then she dies in front of him. The Empire kills him in front of him. So maybe this scene right here is doubtful, but is Asajj Ventress dying in front of him, in theory. I don't think Asajj Ventress will die because they just brought her back, but she could somehow, like the kid thinks she dies or something like that, and then goes from there. That's the only reason why Jod makes more sense than Balin to me, but we'll see. Was it Pedro? It's Pedro? Let's look it up. Pedro, Clone Wars. What are you laughing about?
You didn't even type in.
What are you talking about? No. This is not, you're not supposed to be here to rat me out.
That's exactly what I'm here to do.
Okay, thanks. Who the hell is Emily Stewart? Okay, this is Pedro. This was the character we were thinking of. So, I think he probably fits the age description. I mean, he looks sort of a little bit younger than this kid does. Now I lost the kid. Good job, chat.
I was Count Dooku's lead.
So, this kid, the eyes are a lot not bright. They're a lot dimmer, I guess, than this. These are very, very bright. But they've done a similar thing. Jason Syndulla in live action, I mean in animation, has these crazy bright colors going on. He's got these wicked pointy ears. I think he does have the pointy ears in live action, but the bright colors have been dimmed down, especially the eye color. So it's possible that they, just for, I guess, stylized and maybe even the purpose of bringing this character one day to live action, made his eyes dimmer. The hair color is different too, but that could also be altered. I don't know. He does have the Force. He would be a Jedi, and he does sort of have the same square-shaped jaw when you look at a different scene here.
You're gonna pay for what you did.
I don't know when this scene is that I'm looking for, chat. Hang on.
You're gonna pay for what you did.
Okay, well, this will do, I guess. Look at his square face. He's got like that, square face. So is this kid. So maybe maybe they're both square face. Maybe it is him, but they would have to change his appearance quite a bit. Yeah. There's a very high likelihood that this is a new character. I mean, it'd be kind of strange if he is a Jedi, and why they'd just attach him to Asajj Ventress' story, I don't know. But it would explain where Asajj Ventress was during the time of a lot of the stories. Because that's why. If you have a character like this show up, then it's very likely that you could have him in future, thanks Brandon, okay, whatever. In future stories. And Asajj Ventress is not in Kenobi. She's not in Rebels or the original trilogy or any of those other projects. So her lack of appearance, her, I guess, absence in all these other projects has to be explained. And maybe this kid has some sort of explanation to that. Yeah. There's a kid in Tales of the Jedi for Ahsoka's 3rd episode. Huh. That'd be pretty interesting. So what do you think? Is this a new character or somebody we've seen before? What do we think, Chet? What do you think?
I kind of think they look similar, to be honest with you.
Really?
I do. I
Okay.
think that the blue hair, obviously that's the only clip I've seen, but I think that the blue hair that you showed in the other picture was the lighting more so than it was his hair being blue.
Interesting. She thinks it's Pedro. Okay. So let's take a look back at him. Yeah, I get it. The room is kind of blue. But they've done that before where they've sort of, I guess, stopped the bright colors for a certain character. Jason Syndulla being the, I guess, the most important one. If we look up, hang on. Jason Syndulla. Live action versus animated. Yeah. See, this is the perfect example. Jason Syndulla, live action versus animated. His eye color's changed. He's got brown eyes in Ahsoka. He's got bright, bright blue, purple looking eyes in animation. He's also got, I mean, he's got the crazy green hair in live action, but it's not as bright green, I guess. So these facial features can be altered slightly. And especially eye color being changed here is pretty interesting when we're talking about the eye color of this character. Yeah. And Pedro theory, I like the Pedro theory because his lightsaber is blue. Oh, isn't his lightsaber also blue? I think so, if my memory serves. The young clone from Tantus? That would fully depend on when this show takes place. Hang on. Young kids on Mount Tantus. Bad Batch. Interesting. Oh, wait, no. Why did I think this kid wasn't green? Okay, never mind. This kid's completely green. Never mind, Chad. Horrible theory. Pretty sure he's not green. Oops. Pretty sure no. Zero comparison there. Mike, kid who turns in Ahsoka's Tales episode. I don't know who you're talking about, Tony. I have no idea who you're talking about. Kid in Ahsoka Tales of the Jedi. No, not Ahsoka as a kid. Yeah, I have no clue who you're referring to. I don't know. But either way, this character is going to be extremely important. And the identity maybe will be an important one, but maybe it's a new character. And honestly, it still is going to be very important. I really want it to be Jod. It would be cool if it's Jod because we just got Jod. Like, we just got introduced to Jod and he became a fan favorite character very, very quickly. But, yeah. But you're comparing two different styles of animation. True. I mean, Rebels is a very different style of animation. So is the Clone Wars. Because that's an earlier season of the Clone Wars, and it's not this same style. Yeah. I'm sold on the Pedro theory. Okay, fine. Fine, Genie. I'm not quite sold. I'm not quite there yet. Maybe we'll get there someday. All right, I do want to get to this other news before we get on out of here. You don't have to stay if you want. You want to say bye to the chat? Okay.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for having me. See ya.
Okay, now that she's gone, we get back to business here. God. Okay, let's get to this final article. This is about the Sean Levy movie, which is very important. Because at Star Wars Celebration, we might be getting a massive announcement on this movie because it's going to be the next movie after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which is extremely important. So let's do this. Ryan Gosling's Star Wars movie gets encouraging update. Yeah, that's right. Ryan Gosling in a Star Wars movie. As Ryan Gosling shifts from Barbie to Blaster, a new Star Wars movie update promises great things for the future. Lucasfilm has encased Star Wars movies in carbonite since 2019's Rise of Skywalker concluded the Skywalker saga, in what many believe as a disappointing fashion. Fast forward, and an assorted of Disney Plus series were released in the first half of the 2020s. None more popular than The Mandalorian, leading to The Mandalorian and Grogu movie being the universe's return to the movies on May 2026. Luckily, it won't stop there. The recent MCU director is giving fans another adventure in the distant galaxy. So Sean Levy did just direct Deadpool and Wolverine last year for the MCU. So if you liked that, well then, you're probably going to like this. Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie is still in the works. Over 2 years after Sean Levy was attached to direct a new Star Wars movie, a recent update is exactly what fans wanted to hear. Sean Levy's co-writer attached to the film's untitled Star Wars film, Jonathan Trooper, sure, of the Adam Project, spoke with Collider about the new project's status. The writer called it what he's dreamt of his whole life, while also promising that they're still working on it. So this is what he said. That gig is something I've dreamed about my whole life. We're still working on it. For various reasons, I can't say anything about it, but we are still working on it. Now, the reason I think you can't say anything is because in 2 weeks from today, we'll be getting some crazy announcement about this movie. The cast, what it's going to be about, when it's going to take place, which it's rumored to be 5 years or 6 years after The Rise of Skywalker. So I think the reason they can't say anything now is because we are a few weeks away from this huge announcement of it being the next Star Wars movie after The Mandalorian and Grogu. So this movie actually might start filming by the end of this year, which would be crazy. Interest in this mysterious Star Wars adventure skyrocketed when Hollywood superstar Ryan Gosling was attached to play the lead role. Considering recent comments from Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy of specific details regarding Sean Levy and Gosling's film, and active work on the script should hopefully conclude soon. So the script should be done soon, which is exciting. What we know about the film. So yeah, that's why Deadpool is there. According to Kathleen Kennedy via Deadline, Sean Levy's Star Wars film is expected to take place 5 or 6 years after The Rise of Skywalker and may feature characters from that said sequel trilogy. Clearly, Ryan Gosling's character will be a brand new one, as will many others likely introduced in the film. Whether or not Ryan Gosling is a Force user remains to be seen. The story details are completely unknown. While plot specifics were under wraps, Levy emphasized to Variety in 2023 that Kathleen Kennedy wanted a Star Wars movie with his signature style. And that signature style is goofy, funny, and not Ryan Gosling. It's Ryan Reynolds. But that's usually what the Sean Levy movies look like, because him and Ryan Reynolds, not Gosling, Reynolds, have worked together a bajillion times. Yeah. But Kathleen Kennedy also confirmed that this movie will be following the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, making it the second movie to return to the galaxy far, far away. This means that James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi and Daisy Ridley's New Jedi Order have less plasmic energy, propelling them forward. The Ryan Gosling Star Wars film does not have a release date, but it could fit the untitled Star Wars movie for a December 17th, 2027 release date. Hopefully, an official update will be made at April's Star Wars Celebration in Japan. So, the craziest part of all this is that it's going to be the first movie after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and that it does take place 5 to 6 years after The Rise of Skywalker, because the Rey movie takes place 15 years after. So this is an in-between story before the Rey movie. Could it be setting up Ryan Gosling's character to be a big role in the Rey movie? Maybe. Or it might be piecing together what the future of the franchise looks like post Skywalker saga, which would be pretty wild. Saria says, "Where's Sam? You have to come back now."
Hi, Saria.
That's not what this is about, okay? Sean Levy.
Hi, and bye again to everyone else as well.
Okay. So Sean Levy, his movie taking place 5 years after The Rise of Skywalker and before the Rey movie seems to be alluding to the fact that these two movies will be connected in some sort of way. I really don't know how, but it will be connected in some sort of way. So that's pretty important and pretty big. And I'm sure at Star Wars Celebration, we'll get a huge announcement about that movie, especially because it's the next one. Yeah. I think it's definitely going to set up the Rey movie. I think so. And I think the Rey movie deserves a setup because so many fans are so turned off by the idea of Rey returning because they don't like the character, they don't like the sequel trilogy, or whatever it may be. I personally can't wait because I hope that they can do justice to a lot of those characters, Finn as well, but also continue the story for a new Jedi Order, which is the future of the Star Wars galaxy. And I think Sean Levy, Ryan Gosling, these two big names being attached to a Star Wars movie that sets up the Rey movie is hopefully going to be good press and good ideas and get more fans on board for a Rey movie. That's sort of what I think's going on here. Yeah. But with that being said, let me end this poll. Do you think that Asajj Ventress is getting her own show? 72% of you say yes. So in 2 weeks from today, we might be finding out that Asajj Ventress is getting her own multi-season animated show, which would be crazy. But Star Wars Celebration is going to give us a lot more than just that. I mean, Tales of the Underworld would have been a crazy announcement, and that's already been announced. So who the hell knows what's coming? 13 days till Star Wars Celebration, 17 days till Andor Season 2. We will be getting that exclusive Empire Magazine official full article and interviews in 5 days. So watch out for that as well. And yeah. That's about it. That's all I got for you guys today. We've passed the 2-hour mark, and I gotta pee. But I do gotta go finish a short that I gotta post for 5. So smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. Will show up in the recommended feed of yours. Huge shout outs to Darth Plagueis Lives, I Haja, Darth Drafter, Ron, Minda Lucas, How Runner Base, Tony, Miguel, for all the very generous super chats, memberships. I appreciate it. If you are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately to keep the conversation going. And yeah, this was a fun one. It's great when we have ramping up towards a show because we get a trailer pretty much like every day or every other day. And it's going to continue that way for Andor Season 2 with these short 30-second trailers that just get you so hyped up and give you one-on-ones of Cassian Andor versus K2-SO in the trailer. It's pretty cool. Pretty dang cool. But until next time, may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you will ever know. Huge shout out to Sam for the return. But we got 17 days until the quadlogy and 13 days until the insane amount of announcements that are coming our way. But until then, watch out for a short tonight. Watch out for maybe a video tomorrow, if not the next day. And we're working on a crazy what if. Oh, and for members, we got a members only live stream tomorrow for another episode of Andor Season 1. But until then, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.